Hi everyone. So today our Honorable Finance Minister presented her fourth annual budget with the Finance Budget 2022. And in this video, I would discuss 4 or 5 key points which were addressed in this budget and which are important for all of us to know. I think if you see this budget is a pro capex pro investment budget. I would say the government has put its focus and power on expenditure. The government has increased the expenditure, the capex to 7,50,000 crores. That is almost 35% higher than the last year. And post COVID, when we are still recovering from COVID, the government wants to focus on expenditure. The government wants to focus on bringing back capex. And I think that was the focus. The finance minister tried to cover almost all the sectors, and that really kind of gives the impetus on the growth as we talk about. And she also talked about where she wants to see India after 25 years, and this is how she wants to prepare India, the Indian economy, for the next 25 years. And we all talk about, we have the dream of seeing India a 5 trillion economy, and how India can become a 5 trillion economy. So let me list down key points. The number one point, which is a major development to my mind, till today, the government or the government authorities, be the RBI, be the finance ministry, be the other government authorities, they were against crypto or virtual digital assets, which they call it now. They were against it in a sense that earlier they banned it through RBI, and then there was no clarity and there was an ambiguity. The government wanted to bring a crypto bill in the winter session of the parliament, but they could not. But interestingly, what the government has done today via the annual budget or the finance budget is they have brought in the virtual digital asset or the crypto or the NFTs or the digital tokens under the tax ambit. So what they're saying now is that you pay 30% tax on the net gain of your crypto transaction under the other sources. Interestingly, this is not capital gain, this is other sources, wherein in UK you have capital gain, cryptos are taxed under capital gain, but it is under other sources. You will not get any deduction, only the cost of acquisition. There will be no carry forward of losses. So if you have losses, bhul jao, you will not get that loss carry forward. This is very important. This is the first step by the government to legitimize, to bring in under the legal system of cryptos and digital currencies. However, there are a lot of queries now. Even I am getting a lot of queries in terms of what will happen to credit card uh, coupons, credit card points, other coins. What will happen those coins? Whether those will also be taxed. So the government will have to bring in some clarification on some of the issues which will still remains unaddressed. I think the second point, startup, and government realized that startup will be the main focal point and the drive engine or the engine of the Indian economy in next 10 to 15 years. The government very recently actually dedicated a startup day to the country. The government also talks about unicorns. The government is now, there are a couple of things which the government is doing to start up. First, they have decided to form an expert committee on issues which are stuck, wherein there, because of that, the VCs or venture capital fund is still getting problem or still are not been able to bring into India because of those problem. It can be ESOP related problem, it can be RBI related problem, it can be some of the definition under the income tax which is creating a lot of roadblock. So the government has decided that they will create an expert committee to ensure that India becomes the dynamic, the to go market for global investors to invest. India is already third largest startup country in that sense, in terms of number of unicorns and number of startups. And last year itself, in 2021, India Indian startups actually raised more than 40 billion, and we are close to 84, 85 unicorns now. The third point in terms of startup is that startup which were incorporated till 31st of March 2022 were given tax intensive for 3 years out of 10 years. That has been extended to 2023. So if you're incorporated till March 2023, you will still get those tax incentives. There is a talk about solar power PLI in the solar power scheme, wherein 18,500 crores have been allocated for that. Then there is talk about swap or interportability of EV batteries that will really impact startups and small startups in the EV sector. There is a talk about creating a different allocation of fund under NABARD for startups which are into agriculture and rural development. So focus is on startups, to summarize in that sense. Moving forward, there are some important provisions on GST with regard to then extension to November the following year if you have not claimed your inputs or expenses, or if you want to revise, or if you want to make some changes in your GST. Earlier, the due date was September of the finance year. So for financial year 2021, you have to do it by 30th September. That has been extended till November next year. Then there are other small changes which has been brought in, but by far, I think the larger point is that the government has not done any major changes in the corporate law or direct tax or indirect tax. The government has kind of kept it the way it was. The government is very happy with the GST collection, with the direct tax collection, GST collection. The finance ministry said that it's close to highest ever GST collection in the month of January 2022. If you remember, prior to GST launch, there was a number quoted that the total indirect tax collection of government of India plus the state is around 15 lakh 40,000 or around that figure. Correct me if I'm wrong, but now with this number that is close to 12.75 or 12.5 lakh crore GST collection in the month of January, it will actually surpasses that earlier indirect tax collection, even though we have just come out of COVID. So I think by overall, it looks a good budget, which is capex oriented, which is forward oriented, which kind of covers most of the sectors which are important for India. It actually give the impetus on the sunrise sectors, be EV or startups or agriculture or those kind of things. Overall, a very good budget. I'm planning a webinar on taxation of crypto and digital assets, virtual currency assets. Very soon, I will keep you informed with that webinar. That webinar will be important because we are getting a lot of queries around this provision. So stay tuned for that, and till that time, stay safe, take care of yourself, and be happy. Thank you.